Hi everybody, Lee Ryder here from Chronicle Live. We're going to be speaking on the Everything is Black and White podcast to recap everything that's been going on in a very hectic day for Newcastle United and their fan base here in Tokyo.
And this time backwards, listen out for those noises that hitting the cone. Yeah, not bad, good. Who's going to do it? Yes guys, so you're in fours, we've got 5 fours, so 2 down there, 2 here on the ball, opposite each other, 2 and 2, 2 and 2 all the way down. Yes guys, so 2 on each. Yes, only you are going down that way. Good, have a stretch all day. Yeah. The outside the cone. 2, yeah. 3 down it is. 3. Yeah. 4, mate. Good, let's come back in. What's up? Oh, nice fight there, Belize. Good. As you go back in, just hug that knee into your chest. Going up, join. Arabette's walking back. You know, good, and as you're going back, a little squat down. Nice wide stance, squat into that gap. Yes guys, a little bit of time for yourselves, any stretches you want, anything you need a bit more on.
So just as Newcastle United have finished their training session here this morning in Tokyo, it started to rain a little bit to cool the place down, which is a bit ironic because it was absolutely sweltering when Newcastle were on there before. What did we see in training today? Well, Joe Willock was involved and looks like he must be pretty close. Eddie Howe also confirming that he will be involved in one of the games over here. Lloyd Kelly was training as well, which was a big plus for Newcastle. He's been sort of held back, and Sean Longstaff was well involved, who's also been carrying an injury. So 3 big boosts there for Eddie Howe ahead of that first game tomorrow night here in Tokyo. And yeah, interesting in the press conference afterwards, Eddie Howe inevitably asked by the international media about the England situation, because that's the first opportunity they've had to ask him, and pretty much Eddie Howe in there shutting everything down, saying that he's only focused on Newcastle, he's fully committed. He was asked if he's actually held any talks with the players about it, is anyone unsettled about it. He says, I don't need to do that, he said, because the players know how committed I am. And basically, from his point of view, it was all about Newcastle United. It was all about talking about trying to get into the Champions League next season. That was something new. It was a big aim revealed by Eddie, and Newcastle have got a big job to do that. Transfer wise, Eddie basically saying that nothing is quite close yet, but they're working on things. They want to get it done before that first game against Southampton. And this trip has Paul Mitchell on it, the sporting director, so both of the main men, if you like, are going to be in the same building for the next few days, so they can really kick on and try to get everything sorted. On the recruitment front, other talking points in training, Bruno Guimaraes was back, laughing and joking with his teammates. Sandro Tonelli looked very very content with life. He's so close to that ban being over, and he was really enjoying himself on there earlier this morning. So a really good one to be able to witness. We've got 15 minutes. I think that's probably the most relaxed I think I've seen Newcastle in terms of letting the press watch training. It's normally the team train on the other side of the pitch, so you don't really normally get to see much, but this was pretty much get as close as you want here, and that was a real big bit of access, because not many Premier League clubs will do that. They don't allow this, certainly in the build up to domestic matches. So to be able to get that level of detail, see how the coaches work, it was all really interesting stuff. And there's plenty more in store today. Newcastle are going to release the new third kit with the old school NUFC badge on it. That's going to be really cool to see that here in Tokyo, and I believe that the club are going to turn up to greet fans as well. So a big statement on that one from Adidas here in Japan, and there's going to be huge fan events later in the week as well, which we're going to be bringing coverage of. But for now, signing off here in Tokyo. That little shower now just giving everyone that little bit of coolness after what's been a scorching morning. Well, Adam, we're outside the club shop here in Tokyo. Special purchase you've got there for the day?
Yeah, most definitely, Lee. I saw, of course, in the club announcement yesterday. So on the massive Titans ones, that there's going to be a surprise here in Tokyo, and just like the kit launch back home in Newcastle, it came out at the exact same time in Japan. So unlike 9 AM over there, it's 5 PM here. We've got Shola Ameobi coming in an hour or so to hopefully try and boost the event a bit more. But actually looks a lot better in person than I thought it did online. I love the design of it, just like the home shirt as well. I don't know how well you can say it, but on the back it's got like little individual badges as well, nice little Magpies. Good touch from Adidas, and I do think this is probably maybe the best out of the three.
Yeah, and we're going to get a closer look with your good friend Paddy here.
That's a big shout. Best of the three. What do you think? How do I look?
I think it's spot on, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the badge, because there's a little magpie there, and the little accent is the same as this. What would you call this? Teal? Green? Yeah. Anyway, like Adam said, when you see it in real life, because I was not that fussed when I saw the pictures, I was like, okay, it looks alright. But when we saw it in real life and then you put it on, it looks really nice.
Yeah. So you'll need a cool kit in this weather as well.
Aye.
The players have obviously, we've had Kistori that's gone now. I mean, having Adidas back at the table is a huge plus for the club.
Yeah, game changer. It makes you excited to wear it, buy it, and wear it with pride.
Unbelievable. And to go back now, and then I'll come back to you, Paddy. Obviously, Eddie Howe's held his press conference here today. I thought there was a strong sort of a message from him about all the England talk. He was almost sick of taking questions on it. He said, I'm committed to Newcastle. I don't need to say anything to the players. That's music to the ears of the supporters.
But yeah, definitely. It's been a bit of a, I wouldn't say an uncertain summer, but especially the last few weeks, because Amanda and Murder both going out of the club over summer. We've had Paul Mitchell come as a new director. There's been quite a lot of reshuffling. I think Eddie Howe was quite honest, especially when Germany would come out in the press conference and you talk about how he wants to be reassured and everything. So the fact that he has said himself that he's fully committed to Newcastle just gives the fans that 100% confidence that I know Eddie Howe is going to stay this season. For me, I never personally felt that he was going to leave at any point. I still feel like he has a lot to achieve at Newcastle, and he's here now. He's got the opportunity to do so, and he's the right man for the job. So it's great news to hear from the director today that he's fully committed to the club. But I never felt like there was any doubt, to be honest, going into this season.
Just on you, Paddy. I mean, amazing that Eddie's coming out with these words. Dedicated, committed. That's exactly what the fans are looking for, really, after all the England tour.
Absolutely, and I don't think it was ever in doubt, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think when all the fuss about the England job potentially lined up with Eddie, I was just waiting for him to say, no, thank you very much, I'm the two, and that's what he's come out and said.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's not going anywhere, not yet anyway.
Brilliant, lads. Thanks very much for your time. Cheers. Show that to the camera. Well, as you can see, evening has fell on Tokyo, and we're now in a bit more of a tranquil setting after the chaos. Really, this is the only way to describe Tokyo rush hour. Absolutely unbelievable. People commuting home, crammed on trains, and it's also about 35 degrees, so it's all just a bit chaotic, and it's a far cry from the sort of tranquility of our own metro system back on Tyneside. But look, we've made it back to base, and it's time to recap what's been a really interesting day. Really, it's been a hectic one. There's been lots of different activities, and it was what I would describe as, you know, the start of the tour getting off to a flying start, really. And yeah, I mean, let's start first and foremost with, I think, the Eddie Howe press conference. I mean, we went to the Olympic Stadium to watch training. We'll come to training in a little while, but overall, I think the big talking point was Eddie Howe, his sort of stance on England. He was always going to be asked about England. Remember, this is the international press pack were there as well. Lots of journalists from the Far East, so it wasn't just the local press pack pushing Eddie Howe on England again. It was always going to come up. England was a big story in the Euros. They do not have a manager. Eddie Howe was one of the favourites with the bookmakers to get the job, so it was always going to come up. So first and foremost, I think my stance on his body language again, compared to the quotes we're seeing from Germany, a completely different sort of outlook on it really from Eddie Howe, basically saying in his press conference that he's had no contact from the FA, he's fully committed to Newcastle United, and then going on to talk about the aims for the season and not being afraid to throw the word Champions League in there. And I thought that was bold, but that's where he wants to take Newcastle. And I just thought overall he's the leader, he's got to set the tone, and I thought he did it brilliantly in the press conference. He's saying he's committed. That's the message he's sending out to his players. And basically he's saying, I'm committed, now you come along with me. And I think that message, whether directly, indirectly, whether he knows the players are going to read the press, see the press, have a scroll on Twitter, basically he knows that that message comes across. He's committed, now follow me. And I think really the first player that's features in doubt who we can talk about is Kieran Trippier, posting a picture of himself in the United Arab Emirates with a friend, but the friend is also head of scouting at one of the top Saudi Pro League clubs managed by Steven Gerrard. So if you put it on Instagram, it's always going to cause a stir. It's always going to make people, you know, it's going to add fuel to the fire. And I think that's basically what Kieran Trippier did there. Whether he did it intentionally, you'll have to ask him, really, won't you? I think that's probably the first question he will be asked if and when we see him back at Newcastle United. But Eddie Howe basically almost defending the player really today in his press conference and saying that, look, it was a picture with a friend, he's on holiday, he's got the freedom to do what he wants on the holiday, and basically he expects him to link back up with the squad next week. So I think that was an important one to get that question done and dusted. Obviously that was coming from Chronicle Live, that question. But generally, I thought Eddie Howe's mood was there for all to see. He was committed. He was almost ferocious, really, in that he wants to take Newcastle to the next level. I think, you know, even flying over here on the Emirates plane, the UEFA highlights package from last season is on there. And Newcastle, because of what they did to PSG, because of the group of death and everything that come with it, they feature heavily on that highlights package. Okay, they didn't get through, but they caught everyone's imagination. People are still talking about that across Europe. And I think Eddie Howe is just desperate to get back into that zone where Newcastle are challenging again. for that top 4. So I thought that was good, ambitious stuff from Eddie Howe on that score. The training session, the mood in general, lots of fun and games, but also focus. I think really now we're seeing a squad back that Eddie Howe feels can push for that top 5 again, try to get back in that Champions League place, as we've already mentioned, and things are looking stronger. So we'll come on to that in just a moment. But overall, thought Eddie Howe a very strong press conference and a very big performance in front of the cameras. So on to the training session, and I thought it was really great access, to be fair. We don't normally get to see that before Premier League games. What we do see is little snippets, the cameras get to go in, but this time all of the press who'd made the journey to Tokyo were allowed into training and watched the first 15 minutes, and it was a full 15 minutes. There was no corners cut on the time limit, and basically everybody was allowed to get a real good look at it. I mean, look, they're not going to show any trade secrets, anything that could leak out to opposition camps. They're just not going to do that. But what you can assess from these things is the mood of the place, and the mood looked very good. And I think the group was definitely lifted by the return of Bruno Guimaraes, who was laughing and joking around the place, Fabian Schär, Miguel Almiron and Sean Longstaff as well training today, plus Joe Willock, who has been hasn't appeared in pre-season just yet, but ultimately he's now looks like he's back on the right road, and it can only be a positive for Newcastle. They've got so many options, but now suddenly that midfield with Bruno, Longstaff and Willock back looks like Eddie Howe's got some genuine options to play with there. And you know, that first, well, when the team settles down, the fact that Sandro Tonali, who also trained very well today, is available from his ban, it means that, you know, you could see a star-studded midfield really with Bruno, Tonali and Joe Linton. But then, you know, I'm sure Sean Longstaff is going to have his say on things as well. So ultimately, for Eddie Howe, he's got options again, and I think at Hull that opening team sheet was a little bit alarming really. That the fact it was packed with fullbacks and Lewis Hall was playing in number 6 role as well as he's done. We know for a fact that that's not where he's going to play this season. Okay, if injuries cut in, there might be an option, but look, I think really Eddie Howe will be pleased with the mood in the camp. I watched again. Was watching Eddie Howe, you know, he was stood almost like a proud manager in the middle of the pitch with his arms folded, a little bit like what we usually see from Jurgen Klopp really when he assesses the opposition normally in the warm-ups. But for Eddie Howe, he was just looking at the way training was running smoothly, and he looked pretty content in his job. I think the issues that may or may not have been there with him and Paul Mitchell seem to be ironed out almost, and now it's real focus on just getting this team ready for pre-season. And, you know, the big game tomorrow night, that's what we're here for. We're here to see Newcastle United play in Japan. They're playing Uara Reds. And Eddie Howe saying that, you know, they see it as a big test, and he's got a lot of respect for the J-League. I mean, this whole tournament that they're in is organised by the J-League. And they're taking it seriously because they've suspended their league programme to accommodate these games. So everything's just stopped still to see some of the top sides take on Premier League opponents. So I think that's a massive compliment to Newcastle that they are such a big draw. We've seen today, which I'll come on to, in the centre of Tokyo, Newcastle fans gathering in great numbers for the kit launch. We're going to be bringing you some footage of that very soon, and what a nice kit it is, that nice third kit with the old school NUFC badge on it. I thought that was a really nice touch. But hopefully Newcastle tomorrow night can just show, in this searing heat, by the way, it's incredible. Even, you know, now it's coming up to 9 o'clock at night, it's red hot outside. That's why I'm inside, and basically, you know, the players have got to cope with that tomorrow. And as I said last night on the sort of opening blog, that it's going to be tiring, but they're probably going to shed a few pounds going into the season. So hopefully that can be a good thing. But we'll next move on to what happened at the kit launch. So on to the kit launch in the centre of Tokyo. It was at a sports shop called Eurosports, and it was fantastic shop. I really recommend, if you ever do end up in Tokyo, to go and have a look at it, because it didn't just have Newcastle United's gear in there. There was a big Newcastle United stall. They were even playing purely belter on the big screen. They wanted to really make people feel at home, and I thought it was a really good touch. But there was so many other things available in the store. Sort of Maradona t-shirts, had all the top Serie A retro kits. There was even a retro Yugoslavia kit from Italia 90, and you could have even bought the old Italia 90 sort of mascot in a box, which I thought was pretty incredible. So there was so much football memorabilia in there. Eurosport, it's in the centre of Tokyo. If you ever go to Tokyo, take a look at it. It's something to be seen. It was a really impressive shop, and the staff were really fantastic. Although they were starting to, when we first got there wasn't much of a queue. Little did they know what was about to hit them, because it was in a shopping centre, and suddenly they couldn't control the queue. It was going everywhere. It was looping. It was zigzagging all the way around the shopping centre. You know, some of the other stores in there were probably getting a bit concerned that they were blocking, the Newcastle fans were blocking the path of potential customers, and the staff had to control that. But look, it just shows you the dedication of Newcastle United fans. I would say there was hundreds there. Shola Ameobi turned up as club ambassador. He met supporters, he signed shirts, he stopped for everyone. No one went home without a little chat with Shola, or a picture, or a selfie, or whatever. And obviously lots of the shirts got sold, which is why Newcastle United ultimately are here. They are trying to spread the global brand. We've seen it, I've seen it myself in the last 12 months in the USA, in Australia, and now here in Japan. It's, you know, the brand is growing. They've got a lot of work to do to catch up. Your Manchester United and Liverpool's, and, you know, the commercial drive of Manchester City, you know, that is like a juggernaut as well. Even catching Manchester City is going to be difficult. But what I did observe from my time in the store was basically the fact that there was just so many Newcastle United staff there today, commercial staff, all with the Adidas kit on. They were there to help the supporters, support liaison team as well. I thought it was really accommodating, and, you know, something to be seen really, and long may it continue. So that rounded off the day. As I say, it's evening time now here in Tokyo. We get ready tomorrow for the first game, which is going to be interesting. I think there's going to be thousands of fans turning up at this. The trains will be packed again. That's going to be another interesting little twist for anyone travelling to the match. Make sure you do get there in good time. Don't leave it too late, because it's very unpredictable. The train service here, not in terms of efficiency because they're coming all the time, but in terms of just getting the sheer amount of people who want to travel on the trains is quite incredible. And that has been one of my biggest takeaways of today. Apart from the heat, the transport system, and just how many people want to use it, it's something else. So I'll sign off for today with this video blog. Thanks for watching Everything is Black and White podcast, and we're going to have another big preview of the game tomorrow, and hopefully the fact that Newcastle have got a game, we're going to have a bit of football to talk about as well.